Yeah, you probably know who I am. Nice to kind of almost see everybody here. Really great to have kind of a little intermission, breaking convention after 10 years. And
Is that the different colour? Cool. Yeah.
yeah, okay, is that a bit better? So, and I'm lucky enough to have known Rodrigo since about 2013, when. Hello.
Yeah,
Get some
push it
feedback.
up.
This one. Oh, I think. Hello, hello.
The batteries.
I think the battery's gone. You can talk. You go for it.
Just
Yeah, so I've been looking. That's more like it. I've been lucky enough to know Rodrigo since 2013. I'd already began working with the Wixarica in 2012. We kind of tried to do a documentary film, which turned out to be pretty terrible, but there was a really good one came out the same year, so that was fine. So I'm really delighted to have Rodrigo here. So Rodrigo, can you tell me a little bit about how you got into working with the Wixarica and how that experience has been?
Well, that was in around 2003. I was looking actually with some friends for some mushrooms in the forest near Guadalajara, where we're from. We didn't find anything, so we just give up. I took a bus back to go to the center of the city, and on that way I met someone that was just inviting me to a ceremony with a maracame. I went there, and yeah, since that time I was really into this world, even if I didn't like it. Always something happened, and that maracame was the one that like kind of initiate on that ceremonies, on that medicine, on that word, and then it was after that I met Don Santos and all the others, and we keep on coming here every time.
Yeah, it's great, a beautiful thing that we have this kind of intercultural exchange going, where people go over to Mexico and spend time with the Wixarica, and they come over here and share their kind of wisdom and their traditions with us, which is really important. Maybe you could say a little bit about the Wixarica traditions and what it is they do.
Yeah, what they do? Well, I don't know if they know exactly what they do. I just know a little bit, being with them, walking with them, doing pilgrimage together. The Wixarica culture, as you can see in this map, comes from North Mexico. The area that you can see there is where the Wixarica live. It's in 4 different states in Mexico, which is Jalisco, Durango, Zacatecas, and Nayarit. In that area of the 4th, in the north, Sierra Madre, is where the Wixarica nation lives and all the communities around there. And
let me know when you need to change sides.
yeah,
We've got a clicker here.
what is really
Oh, you got a clicker. Okay.
what's really interesting is you can see the geometrical form around there. That's basically the 5 actually main sacred sites of the Wixarica nation. On the west, you can see the Pacific Ocean, and the Wixarica communities are right in the middle, where it says Centro Teacata. That's the sacred place of the fire, and there's the other 3, which makes a really interesting geometric form. And in some of the offerings, they do that. They call it Ojo de Dios. Tikiri is Eye of God. And the first time when I saw that, because the map, I don't know if there's no, there's not the numbers, but from one side in the ocean to the other side in Wirikuta on the east, Real de 14, must be around 900 to 1,000 kilometers. So how do the ancestors realize that to make it all also straight, also interesting? They say dreaming. So the ancestors, since the first time they come from the ocean and they went all the way to the desert in Wirikuta, they were having that in dreams, in visions, following a deer. And then it's in the east sacred side where they find the hikuri, the sacred plant. Peyote is actually the name how the world knows that plant. So yeah, they've been keeping the tradition alive for thousands and thousands of years, and this is the value and the more sacred and they say the only heritage they can give to the generation, to the other generation, to pass from father and mother to son and daughter, and so it's not many cultures in Mexico, in our country, that still keeping the traditions alive since who knows when, the beginning.
Yeah, really. I mean, that's one of the fascinating things about the Wixarica. They're also known as the Huicholi, that's a Spanish name for them, is that they've really have kept their culture intact. I mean, even after 500 years of occupation or whatever, if you want to consider it like that, their traditions haven't really changed at all, it seems. I mean, there's a beautiful video, actually, of the first film of a pilgrimage across the desert from 1968, I think. And having been on the pilgrimage, it's like almost identical, except for these days the Murakami wears a puffer jacket on a cold night. But other than that, everything else is exactly the same, and that was already 50 years ago. But so their traditions seem quite ancient, really. Yeah, and this is kind of amazing that they still do all these pilgrimages to all these sacred sites. You could say like they spend like a lot of time in pilgrimage, isn't it? I mean, it's like they're kind of one of their main occupations.
Exactly, yeah. Every community, even every house, has a ceremonial center. Either if it's a family ceremonial center or one of the main communal ceremonial centers, and every 5 years they change the structure of the, we could say, temple, and the structure of the group. So every 5 years they're gonna renew the whole roof. They bring down everything. They make ceremonies, the maracames. They hear which trees and where they're gonna make the two vertical base and the horizontal one. Everything has a meaning. And they cut the tree after doing offerings and prayer. And then the whole group is gonna change. So every 5 years is a new group. And these people are gonna be in charge to take this tradition, to keep this tradition alive, to do the ceremonies, to do the offerings and the pilgrimage actually this is only 5 sacred places, but in between there's thousands of more sacred places. So the main maracame in the ceremonial center is getting, during the whole year of pilgrimage, the news, where's gonna be the next offering, where to go, when to go, and they doing it. So during these 5 years, they are like semi-nomads because they are really less time at home. They're always doing some work, and basically this is to keep the tradition alive, to keep the culture alive. But they pray for everything, for the whole world, the humanity, for the rain. They pray for the corn to grow, to keep this alive, and to teach the new and pass on to the new generation that knowledge and that ways of life. So yeah, they're amazing. They don't stop, as you know.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, I mean, we've done pilgrimage with them in the kind of modern way across the desert, but with vehicles, right? But traditionally, they would walk this distance from the center to Wixarica to harvest their peyote. It's like a month walking across, the most inhospitable landscape across desert, and then collect a basket of peyote, of hickory, and walk a month back. I mean, so but just spending like a few days doing it with vehicles, it's still pretty tough for us gringos. But it's nothing to them, really. And in the desert, it's like, it changes temperature like 30 degrees every 12 hours, from 0 to 30, 35 in no time at all. So you've always got the wrong amount of clothing on, no matter what time of day it is.
Yeah.
But and so in their traditions as well, so the Marakamis are kind of like these shaman characters, but unlike, the Western concept of shamans, it's often like what we've learned from anthropology is just, there's one guy on the edge of the village who's the village shaman, but it's not really like that in the Wixarica culture, is it? I mean, there's a Murakami in every family, in every generation, pretty much.
Yeah, they still having like many, actually, couple of Murakames per family, and And it's funny, you remember when you went there and I tell you, okay, let's go and greet the governor.
yeah, yeah.
And you were, who's the governor? It's that guy sitting on the floor doing beadwork. Yeah, he's the governor.
yeah, yeah.
So they do everything. They plant corn, they heal, they keep tradition alive. They do beadwork. They sit on the floor just as normal as any other person in the community. It's really, yeah, it's really nice. It's really good to go and witness that. And now, as you say, they do half of the pilgrimage in vehicles, so they bring also wood, because in the desert there's not much wood. It's a semi-desertic area. But I asked them one time, so how did your grandparents used to bring wood to warm themselves? They didn't bring any wood, they just cut whatever branches, green branches, not even a real fire, you know. So yeah, but they know how to get, and they know how to take the cold weather.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
And the
they
hot.
don't need jacket, yeah.
I remember this one guy we met when we went up to Wolf Mountain in the north actually one time to make some offerings, and Don Emeterio. And he was like, first up the mountain, 3-hour climb, and sitting there talking with him in the middle of the night, and it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and he's still kind of singing and sat there all night. He actually pulled out a can of beer in the middle of the night and started drinking it. I was really impressed and slightly jealous. And I got talking to him, and he was like 98 at the time or something. Mm-hmm. And he was still talking about walking across the desert and doing it all on foot. So they're quite extraordinary people, extremely hardy and extremely attached to their traditions. Could you say a little bit about the importance of hickory in their peyote in their traditions, in their cosmology and culture?
We can also maybe
Let's have some more pictures.
Pictures.
I keep going. Oh yeah, is that Wolf Mountain?
That's Wolf Mountain, yeah. Yeah, for them the hickory, the peyote is like a teacher. So the importance in this in the culture is just like, some of them they say is the only medicine they have, and it's the teacher, is the way how they learn, how they gonna heal, how they gonna see what is coming, what is happening. So for them it's like the hickory, cactus, the deer animal, and the corn, the element. This is like the same spirit, just 3 different like physical forms. Mm-hmm. Actually. So this is like, most of the culture goes around that 3 elements.
Is it fair to say, like, without hickory, without peyote, I mean, that is the core of their culture to some extent, isn't it? I mean, yeah. I love these callioways as well. Like you said, they're semi-nomadic, and it's like wherever they put down their medicine bags is like the altar, isn't it? It could be in the middle of the desert, next to a spring or something. You put down your bags and your arrows and your deer skulls and your instruments, and that's your altar, wherever you are. They're not big on buildings, particularly.
No.
Oh, it's Santos. That's Santos.
That's Don Santos, yeah.
I like his jacket. But traditional.
Yeah, after a ceremony of few days, all day and night singing, praying. Then after that they bring the corn, fermented corn drink, and he starts to drink, because they need to kind of ground, they need also to chill, to relax a little bit. And some friends, they brought like a bunch of donation clothes, and he liked that jacket. We say, but it seems like a woman. He said, no, it looks like a tiger jacket. So he liked it, he put it, and he's happy on drinking.
And this is Don Emilio.
That's Don Emilio, yes, the elder that just left. That was the first time I met him in this Wolf Mountain ceremony. Yeah. He was doing a ceremony there with 3 other Maracames, and I thought the 2 elders are gonna hold the ceremony, but he was holding the ceremony for everyone. Yeah. And then I meet and I say, wow, that's the real deal. Yeah, Who's that man? He's healing everyone. It's really special, though.
Yeah, he's quite a massive character. It's a kind of sad loss that he wasn't, that he left last week. it was also like for me, kind of epitomized the trickster spirit in of the Wixarica, you know, their culture and things. I mean, you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, exactly. He had a really special way to show the self to the people, and it's actually, like you say, the trickster. But in the like the groups, the every 5 year, like the pilgrim groups, there's one that has the charge to be the trickster. You say they call it Chikwaki. It's the one that does everything upside down, everything just to make people laugh. Sometimes also to, when people are sleeping, he has to awake them, or sometimes people get a bit scared of them. And he was one just natural. So he was 24/7 like that. It was really funny for me. It was funny for some other people. It was just like a nightmare. But it was good medicine. Yeah, to tell people sometimes after ceremony in front of everyone, he just have a bag of herbs. He take herbs, he gives to the people, put that in alcohol, and go and wash yourself. You're really dirty. Stop dating that people. He was always saying things like that. Yeah, so funny. And the trickster or the Chikwaki has a big role in the community, in the ceremonies as well.
Yeah, I love that it's actually, there's an official job in the ceremonial center. 4 or 5 years of being this kind of sacred clown, and every ceremonial center will have one. I remember being up in the Sierra the first time and seeing one of these guys in a dress with a kind of blonde wig on and a big stick, and you know, it was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, and they put masks, and then they sit whatever they want. They could be sitting with the elders, they could be sitting in every place they want. It's actually really difficult to have 5 years this task, and to do that for 5 years. Many people think, like here in the Western, that it's really easy and really funny to be trickster, and they try to play the trickster. But when these guys, they eat medicine, they mix it with anything. So no one gonna eat that except of them. Yeah. And it's really difficult. But they have like they say they go in the front with the main elder that takes care of the whole group, and the sacred clown. They're the ones that goes in the front, guiding everything.
I like how, I mean, this is kind of cuts through their culture as well, like some of their traditions, like when you start on the pilgrimage, after you've made your offerings, and I mean, there's a lot of preparations before you go, but then when you go, even if you're going by van or walking, the first few days you spend changing the names of everything as well, so everything gets turned on its head. It's like the Lords of Misrule.
Yeah, it lost totally all sense of everything, you know. And then fasting every day, and then with medicine or with the peyote, then you really don't know what's going on, what's up, what's down. It's really, really good. They change you the name, they change you the task. In some other places they change you the name, but then they give you a clown name, like joke name. Sometimes even if you're a man, a woman name. So then you really really don't know where you're standing.
And it's changing all the time as well.
Yeah. And if you fail, like we call the son, instead of the name they give, you have to pay a fine. So at the end, the people in charge of collecting the fine, they have normally it's kids, so they have at the end something to go back to the communities and buy the offerings or buy just whatever they want.
Yeah, Emilio and his son Eugenio were quite keen on fines. If anyone fell asleep in a ceremony, it was an immediate fine. Although I caught Eugenio nodding off as well, so. Should have some more pictures.
Yeah. That's Wirikuta.
Is that Kamado?
Sacred land of the desert where the Hikuri and the Kawimari spirit lives.
And so, yeah, this is where the peyote is.
And that's the way how you eat peyote.
Yeah, he's got his muyeri there, his kind of magic wand. But when you collect the peyote, you have to hunt it first of all, right? Like a deer.
Exactly. Yeah, first in the desert, they're gonna do a ceremony. They're gonna sing the maracame in the ceremonial center. of the ceremonial center, but in the desert. So they're gonna be singing. They believe the Maracames that the hikuri is gonna grow, is gonna come just with the air. So when they're singing and the air comes, it grows. So sometimes when we talk and we say like populations are decreasing, they say this is for you, this is what you're thinking. But when we sing and the air comes, it grows.
Mm-hmm.
And if something happens in the pilgrimage and someone is not doing like the fasting or something, the air comes and it vanishes, so it goes again. And that's why when they go and they start to sing, the next day, the next morning, the hikuri has to be already growing already, and they know where it's gonna be. They see some signs, or they see a deer or whatever, and it's gonna be the first where you have to leave the offerings, and it's always like a master, big one like this, or a special family, a special way how they dream it or how they saw it during the night, and there's where they're gonna leave the first offerings, and then after that they found a lot always.
Mm-hmm.
It's really
Yeah, I mean,
really magic. Yeah,
it's really magic. I mean, they live and breathe a magical reality, don't they? Everything's interconnected, and through omens and signs and dreams and offerings and reading the landscape. I mean, they're really intimately connected with the landscape and the elements. Of course, that's what they live and breathe, really, isn't it?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the deer as well is also important to the traditions of
the deer hunting as well, the animal hunting. Yeah, they're great looking. When we travel here in Europe, Don Eugenio is always sitting on the window of the car or the train. I'm like, what are you watching? I'm gonna see if there's a deer. And I was, there's a deer. What do you mean? I didn't see anything.
We actually took them deer hunting one time. They were really good. They could see them before anybody else could,
Mm-hmm.
actually.
Yeah, they're great hunters. Also great reading all the information on the ground.
Mm-hmm. So it's in the desert. So I guess this is where they've found the first peyote and they've left offerings for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they shoot arrows around the first one as well. Always or sometimes?
In the old times, yeah. I haven't seen in the ceremonial center where I'm now with them. I haven't seen them taking the arrow, but yeah, traditionally, yeah, they do it. This is the sacred place in the mountain of Real de 14, Cerro Quemado. That's the place, the little temple of the offerings, for the offerings. And then after the pilgrimage, they go to the communities, and on the way they're gonna hunt a deer. And if the deer animal gives the life to the ceremonial center, is more life coming for them and more way to go, more luck. And they do first the prayer with the deer in that way.
Yeah, I loved how I was chatting with one of the guys, and they were saying they dream the deer the night before that they're going to get. Basically, like the deer gives itself to them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh.
That was one of the ceremonies where they renew the temple, ceremonial center. So they all gather. They're gonna do the ceremonies for a few days, and then they put all these big the structures up, which is pretty difficult. We were helping there, and they asked us to go up. No way.
There's a few Marakamis there. This is from top of the Quemado.
This is top of the Quemado, yes.
The sacred mountain in the desert. Oh wow!
And this is in recently, this is some of the work and the ceremonies that has been doing the widows in other places, like here in Europe, or that was in South Africa as well. So Micaela, the woman, and Don Rafa, they were meeting some other elders from other traditions and trying to pray together, be together, and share do some cultural exchange as well.
That's
It was
nice.
pretty nice and interesting.
Especially because it's hard to find elders in Europe. Amazing. Just to be a little bit conscious of time, I was hoping that you could talk a little bit about the situation of their traditions and the threat. We talked about, the hickory in the desert, but it's like although they have a sense of abundance, if you do the prayers, the hickory will still be there, but there's still kind of certain concerns about, keeping their traditions going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first time when Don Santos came to the breaking convention, that was exactly when the Canadian mining companies give the concessions to mine all over the sacred place in Wirikuta. And there was a lot of movements and work and awareness internationally, and they stopped the concessions. The mining didn't happen in Wirikuta, even if the concessions still there. Still given, so they could mine anytime. But the people that lives in Wirikuta, in that area, they are not indigenous, they are not Wixarica, but they are in also big need.
Mm-hmm.
So they believe that if they sell some of the land to the mining or whatever, they can get work and they can get better living. But now they also giving the land to these plantations of tomato, like they do greenhouses or nopal, this other cactus, and they just cut everything that is there. Just the area of Wirikuta, from the whole desert of Chihuahua that goes from that place of Wirikuta, which is more or less central North Mexico, all the way to the border with the US. In Wirikuta lives like more or less 70 to 80% of the whole population of endemic plants and animals.
Mm-hmm.
And cutting everything there just to plant these tomatoes and these greenhouses and stuff, it's devastating, really.
Mm-hmm.
And every year you see more and more. When you go to give the offerings on the mountain, you go up there and you see down on the land and in the desert more devastation. So this is something that it has become a little bit worrying, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even for the Wiras, even for the Maracamas, that they believe that if they sing and they do all the prayers, the hikuri is gonna rise. But this is other reality as well, and it's as real as their reality too. That the greenhouses are there and they're cutting everything. And once the greenhouses leave, it's gonna be empty. So it's not gonna be anything again there. So yeah, this is one of the other strugglings and problems of the Wixarica people, Wixarica nation to survive, and it's more and it's beyond the Wixarica nation, because Wirikuta, it has been a place of pilgrimage for many other nations in Mexico, many other nations that work and pray with this plant, and not even for the spiritually. So it just anything natural that is just like as special as this place cannot be destroyed. This is just the main thing now that they're struggling with.
It's interesting. It obviously goes pretty much against their traditions and culture, this idea of reciprocity. I remember being in the desert with these guys one time and they were like, underneath here it's just full of silver and gold, and that's why the mining companies want it, but we're not interested in that. We're not interested in the mineral value of the plant, of the land. It's about the hickory, the traditions, the medicine. Is like, once all that's gone, what do you actually have left, right?
Exactly, yeah. That's why when they do the offerings, they give coins as well. Of course, it's the way how things move in this world, how you can pay things and live. But for them also, it's like the minerals that comes from the earth. With that minerals, they make the coins. So it's a way to give back to the earth their heart. For them, it's the heart of the earth, the heart of the gods. So it's a way to give back that to the earth. and yeah, it's for them it's now a little bit of a problem, and there's another struggle, and yeah, it's something that we have to start to watch on, and to start to make something for that land as well, you know. Also for the culture, the hikuri. If the hikuri disappear, that culture is gonna be also gone, or they have to do something totally different. So yeah, it's already some people, some groups start to check on projects to do something there for that land and for the people that lives there actually. Because if that people has a good income or good living, better living, they don't need to sell the land, and yeah, everything can still ongoing.
Yeah. It's one of the ongoing struggles, I guess. I think maybe we could open it up for some questions for the audience. We've got like 10, 12 minutes left. If anybody, I can't actually see anyone because these lights are so bright, but if anyone has a question, maybe you could. There's only this one mic. Is there a mic going around? There's a roving mic, which is even better.
Yeah.
I don't think it's working.
Yes. Because I'm wondering if you know something about the black peyote. What is the difference?
Yeah, try this one.
Bueno, yes. Yes, I want to know if you know something about the black peyote. I heard this is for a special ceremony or something, but this is very strong. This is very careful to try. I don't know if you know something.
About the black peyote? No, I haven't heard about it. I know when they take us there, we go there. There's different colors, and the maracames, they know like the lines where there's like a sacred stone of the deer where the deer spirit lives and materialize, and there's some lines, some energy lines, and they say if you follow these lines, you can find some special hikuris, special. They also have some colors and some taste and some different ways that you get it, but I never hear about the black peyote. There's another that they call it hikuri yuawi, which is like the coyote spirit. It's not the hikuri of the deer spirit, it's like the coyote spirit. I hear about that. They never gave us, they didn't tell us to cut it, they just tell us this you don't touch. Apart from that, all the others, we eat all of them. We feel different, but never hear about the black one. I'm gonna ask them next time. Maybe they're hiding that from us.
Another question?
I've got a question here, just more about the sort of longevity of the culture with younger people. You know, obviously with the Western modern world having such an influence, what's the kind of outcome there with younger people coming up through the generations?
Yeah, that's a good question, because in many places that I've been like traveling, there's a little difficulties for the younger generations to be interested on keeping traditions alive, to keep on doing it. There's a lot of influence from now. All kids have mobiles or have some other kind of interest, and at least what I saw is that there's some of them, especially from the leader Maracame, there's some of the youngs that wants to, but they say that they are not interested anymore, maybe not like before. And but also what I can experience is that at the beginning maybe they're not so interested, but sooner or later they're gonna get involved. Sometimes they are not really interested, they don't get involved, but they get ill. So sometimes even the spirits choose the people. So once the illness is there, they heal and they have to start to take commitments or have to start to do the work. I don't think that's gonna be a problem with them. They have really strong root, really attached to the culture. But But yeah, there's many of the junks that at the moment they have some other interest in the mine.
That's Chris.
Yes, I've got a question as well. To what extent are these communities recognized in Mexico by the authorities, by the governments? What's the situation for them? Are they ignored, or are they start to be recognized and valued? And how is the wider Mexican society relating to these psychedelic practices that these communities have?
Especially for the Wixarica nation, people know them and admire them a lot for the art as well. As you in the other picture you could see, they get more and more known, like all over the world for the beadwork, the artwork. Is this visionary art. So when people get a little bit involved or interest on that, then they realize that it's a lot of the visions they have with the medicine, and they start to get more involved. The government in Mexico, they don't, I don't know, the indigenous communities that are not really supported in Mexico, especially the Wixarica communities that they are really far in the mountains. So they go to the communities like few months ago for getting before the elections, just to people for vote for them. They promise that they're gonna build the new roads and stuff. So the community votes for those people, and then they build just 10 meters here. The first rain comes and it destroys. So even with bad material, so they are a little bit marginalized. Indigenous communities in Mexico, if a community is more than 60% or is in the majority indigenous, they are like autonomous. Yeah. So they have their own traditional government. The government cannot really go and get involved in the, but still they have a lot of struggles, and they could have some much more help from programs or from the government and things like that. And then your last question. In Mexico, it's still a strong root of tradition. There's a lot of nations in Mexico, especially the central and northern nations, that use the same plant. So many of the people that are involved in the traditions, especially traditional families, they get into these lines of, as you say, of uses of the plants of psychedelics. In the south as well, there's like in Oaxaca or Chiapas, there's a lot of knowledge with the plants, a lot of indigenous populations, and yeah, there are people, they keep on using the plants, they keep on the traditions still alive. But there's also a lot of influence from like Catholicism and stuff, like involving or mixing the culture, but the roots has not been lost. Mm-hmm.
If you're going to jump in with one example of government support or recognition, or is when was it Peña Nieto was sworn in, he actually wore a huichol, a kind of Rurawe outfit, wasn't he? And he's talking about protecting indigenous land rights. At the same time, he gave out mining prospect licenses for 1 million hectares of desert wilderness to be mined. You know, so it's kind of, there's a bit of a kind of inherent hypocrisy and farce about some of that.
Exactly. Yeah, 2 presidents has been already wearing like Wixarica outfit, or also from Chiapas outfit, and they go and they talk, but they don't do much. So just no words for that. Just they don't even look nice when they wear that clothes.
Got a question from the live stream.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it sounds like our government too. So we have a question from the live stream, just asking about, said the artwork was really beautiful. How does creativity get integrated into ceremonies? And I know that in a ceremony, in the instrument and Eusebio is like the spirit tells me, the medicine tells me how to play. So I think that that's kind of related to that question.
Yeah. Before start to doing all the artwork, that all was like just for offering purposes. So, and that was very basic. But then one of the comments from San Andres started to go to the city, to Guadalajara, and start to bring some of the materials. So they are so creative, the Wixarica, and yeah, they eat a lot of medicine. I believe that they have seen, yeah, they know how to do this art, to put it there, like Eusebio was telling you, the way how they learn the music. They have to do like a commitment in certain sacred places and work with some spirits, and then they start to get all tunes, how to tune the instrument, which tunes, and then I believe maybe inspiration for that to start to compose and to do the work. Also for the ones that do the beadwork or the artwork, they go and they ask us everything in the culture, in that culture. Anything you get, or anything you ask for, anything you do, you have to give thanks, to give offerings, to go and pay to one sacred place back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and every year I saw new patterns, new work. Yeah, like this John painting is just amazing, really.
Is it fair to say they all make, pretty much everybody makes art, don't they?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the whole community also take hickory as well.
Not all of them, but
not all of them, most of them, yeah. Okay.
So I don't know if you want to round off anything about the fundraiser or what's now, and talk about the raffle and anything else, Rodrigo, if you're...
Well, as in the beginning, we thank you so much again for that. I'm talking again in behalf of them. Next time they will be here again. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, and yeah, after the southern pass of the part of the dad, Don Emilio, they start to do also fundraising. There's a lot of expenses, and there's a lot of things that he was supporting in his community, ceremonial center and family. So thanks so much for sharing this, and yeah, there's some like raffle tickets or whatever, so we can also go and support them a little bit more. And yeah, they just send a lot of greetings, say thanks so much. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Oh, thank you. So I'll just grab that mic. Yeah, thank you so much, Rodrigo. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Mm-hmm. So yeah, thank you.
Nice one, Brian.